Good morning. It's Stacy with Sew Steady, and we are back live today. We're hoping for some good results with our video quality. Looks like all the issues have been resolved from the streaming end of things. So today we're going to be diving into the Churn Dash Table Topper project that Mendy created using her AccuQuilt die and the patterns that we have for our Churn Dash pattern. Now, just to keep in mind that the Churn Dash AccuQuilt die actually creates a little bigger block than what we have in the box. So I believe the end block size on that one is 9.5, and the one in the box is the 6.5 inch size. So she's doing a little bit bigger project. We do have fabric requirements. We are going to be putting those onto the university class for the embroidery because this is being finished with embroidery. I think we'll put it on both classes actually. And so we're going to go ahead and have her take it away. We'll show you the final results during the video, but it's a gorgeous quilt using that fabric from in the beginning, the Jason Yinter fabric that everyone has in their boxes. So let's go ahead and dive in. There's going to be several videos today, so there'll be lots of opportunity for you to ask questions and me to kind of share those throughout the live. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Thanks, everyone.
I'm so excited because our fabric for the quarter three of our subscription box has arrived, and so I get to get busy doing a project. So I have cut some 4-inch strips, and the block for that quarter is our Churn Dash block. So I'm going to get busy cutting some pieces so I can start making a project. So let's go ahead and get these laid out here. I think I'm going to alternate the colors. So this will be summer and going into, the fall time, but this is definitely summer colors here. So that's 4. And then I think we can do 4 over here, because I think I'm going to be alternating. Let's do it this way. Let's do 2 and 4 here. Okay. I want to make sure that I'm beyond that for the salvage. So, okay, so now let's go ahead and put our cover on here, and just kind of, we'll turn that on too. That's always a good bonus. And I'm just going to let the tails run here. So here we go. All right. So now we're going to take this through here. I'm going to just press like that. Take that static cling out of there and push that off. There we go. All right. So I'll put that back over there. So here we are. These are those little what I'll call crossbars. And we've got our pattern and our solid here. All right. And the same with here. We've got our half square triangles, and both in colored and plain. Okay, let me just cut off the extra because I did just let the strip fly there. There's that. And there's that. There we go. Not much, lost fabric when you do it this way. I love that part. Okay, and there's that one. Let's go ahead and cut off the little tags there. All righty. Give me a second, and I'm going to do a little layout here of our options. Okay, I'll be right back.
All right, so let me go ahead and get our next video here queued up, and we're going to go to.
Okay, here's second round. All right, we're going to just rub that pressure on it, then scoot it off. We're trying to diminish the static cling on that. Okay, here's this and this, and I just have a couple more. We're just making kind of a small project. I think I'm going to make a pillow, and so I don't have to cut that much this time, but this sure makes it so much faster. Okay, let me do, I think, one more pass, and then I'll put some samples of what the block will look like and show you that. All right, be right back. Okay, so here are the block options that I have. I've got two with the solid as the background and one with the print in the middle. So this is a block that is a lot when you just put it side by side. So we'll see how this turns out. But I am excited to get this going and see what we do with it. All right, I'll see you for the next chapter. Hi, everybody. Mindy was So Steady here. I'm super excited because we've got our fabric from In the Beginning for our third quarter project, which is summer. So I always do one for me and one for you. So this is the one I did for me. And this is the project that we're going to be working on. It's a 34 by 34 finished table topper. And we're doing the Churn Dash block for this quarter. So give me a second and I'm going to get us started cutting out the fabric with my Go AccuQuilt system. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so here's the system, the AccuQuilt system. This is the Churn Dash block die. And so what I've done is cut 3.5-inch strips, and that is going to get me the half square triangles and the 3.5 by 2.5 inch or 2-inch rectangles. Then the center of the churn dash is this, and I'm going to handle that separately. So let's go ahead and layer our fabric here right now. And I did not cut off the salvage end on this. So let's go ahead and put this, yeah, let's do the natural. And I'll just have that hanging off there. And that's going to be 4. And I cut three strips because for that size of project, I need 3 strips of both the solid fabric and the contrasting fabric. So 6 total strips of 3.5 inches. And I am going to go ahead and turn this on. Oh, yep, I got to turn on my master first. Okay, now it'll work better. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. I just want to make sure I got everything covered. So I'm going to get a good cut. All right, we're going to put that on here. And let me press that down, and let's just kind of put it through here. All right, then what I do, let me bring it over here so it's a better look. I like to press down, trying to take the static off of it. You can do it without that, but you'll end up with all your pieces kind of statically clinging to stuff. So I found this is much more successful if I don't do it that way. All right, so I try to keep my pieces all together. You notice I say try. Sometimes I'm not successful, sometimes I am. All right, so that's going to be how many? That's 2, 4, 6, 8 of them, and we need 20. So there's 8 of that, and then there's going to be 4 and 4 is 8 here again. So let's go ahead and get that there. And then we're going to do it again. This time we'll do the pink. Let's just get all this extra stuff. I don't think it'll bother the cutting, but you know, a little bit of my OCD, you could say. All right. And I want to make sure that that didn't look like a very good cut, did it? Or is it just scooched over? No, it wasn't a very good cut. Okay, well, that's not good. I don't think that's going to cover the whole thing on that skinny end. So I'm going to come at this a little bit differently. We're going to kind of do it like this. All right. I don't know what I was thinking when I did that one. Okay. Let's come back here. Where's that? Yeah. I want to scooch that down just a little bit. I need a little bit more time there. 1, 2, 3. Now let's see if this is going to be, when did it get skinny? We'll check it out. We're going to do that. I think that end was real skinny, but we'll see. Okay, I do end up with a few extras, so I'm not terribly worried about it not being perfect. I mean, you know, everybody likes to be perfect, but I have illusions in that area. Okay, same song, second verse. Here we go. Oh, just a second. Sorry about that. All right, here we go. Fabric's moving. Come on. Well, there you go. See how it sticks? That's not awful. We can still deal with that. All right, there we go. We'll get that taken off of there. Sometimes they just kind of, there's little strings that hang on and you just pull them and they come apart. Okay, there we go. So now we have 8 of these. 8 and 8. So let's keep going here. We'll go ahead. And this is that extra. That was the skinny one. So I'm just going to throw that in my not good pile. I will be vacuuming later. All right. Here we go. I'll go back to my floral just to keep it going here. All right. I want that to be, did really get that right on the edge there. This is my salvage end, so I want that to be there. Okay, here we go. go ahead and push that off. There we go. Just one stick into that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 8 more, so now we have 16 of those. And 16 of these. The magic in this with these half square triangles is that they cut the ends off of this little piece right here. Sorry, thought I was in the camera. Right there. And that just helps the whole thing piece together so beautifully. So, okay. I call them little flags if you don't have it done like that. All right, let's go ahead and do this now. Here we go. There. All right. Okay, so take that part off right there. There's my half square triangles. Okay, and take that off. And there's the rectangles. So now we've got 16 of each color going. This will be our last one. We'll just grab the one that was on top here. Okay. Put that down like that. Put this down. I just love this AccuQuilt system. I didn't even know that I needed it until I had my shoulder injury. And now it's so much more accurate and so much quicker than I am. All right, here we go. There it is. Now we're going to get that out. Now there's our 24. We only need 20. So I always have a little cushion going. And here's the rest of that. Put that there. There we go. Last one. That was extra. Okay, so look, where's the salvage end? Right there. Okay, let's make sure we've got plenty of room. Okay, here we go. All right, this is pretty slick, guys. So now, oh, yeah, that one's just slipped. Okay, so now we've got all of our pieces cut for the rectangle and the half square triangle. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut the 3.5 inch by 3.5 inch square that is in the center of our block, which is the A in this, and then all of our cutting will be done. So give me a second and I'll be right back. I do need to cut a 4-inch strip, but I only need 5 of these, and I actually happen to already have the 5 that I need, so I'm not going to do that right now. Okay, I'll be right back. See. All right, Here we are at the sewing machine, and I'm getting ready to do my piecing. I've got my grid glider on, which just allows for the fabric to smoothly go through. It does have grid marks on it, so I can see if I'm straight and all those good things. It's got 1/4 inch, 3/4 inch, all those markings. I have my Sew Straight guide on here as well. And this is the tool that you use to make sure that you're at a scant 1/4 inch. So let me show you how it works. There's a tiny little slit there. And so when I bring my needle down, I go right into that little slit. That's how I know that I'm using a scant 1/4 inch seam allowance. And that's with this butted up against my ruler foot. Okay, so that means then that my fabric will go against this guide, and it really helps my seams stay straight. All right, so we know that we're just going to put all of these pieces together, and everything is offsetting. So all my solids go with the florals, and I just kind of have a machine going here. I went ahead and got them all sorted so that I can just put them together pretty quickly. And we're just going to kind of do a production line. And because these are pretty small pieces that I'm working with right now, I'm not even going to use a pin. So let's get this here. But I do have these other tools that help me keep my seam straight. So let me just put 5 or 6 together here in a row real fast. Well, maybe not real fast, but that way I can do a little bit of a production for ya. And I'm not going to make you watch me putting together all of these, right? But we'll get some. Okay, so I've got 3 here to go. We're just going to daisy chain these. Oh, I don't think, no. Well, let's see. I can't remember if no, I didn't thread my needle yet. I had it all set to do, and I forgot. I got excited talking to you. So let's go ahead and do that. What I do when I'm piecing is I do not match my fabric to the fabric, or the thread to the fabric. I go and find all of my spools that I'm just about out of because I don't know about you, but occasionally I do have to pick some thread out. And if it's not matching the color of the fabric, it's so much easier to pick out. And then I'm also using up all of my bobbins. You know, I always end up with just a little bit of bobbin thread from about every project that I do. And so I don't want to waste that thread. So I'm using different colored bobbin. And just little things that I do. I don't know about you, but I find that very gratifying when after a project I have like 5 spools or bobbins that are empty that I started with. So I feel like I'm using up my resources. All right, so you can see how this is going to go. We're just going to kind of make our way through here and get this going here. This one might be a little long. Let me try another one here. Okay, let's try that. All right, hold on, I'll be right back. All right, I just wanted to get them all put together so I can just bomb through these. Here we go. next stack over. 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we go. I don't like the way I started that one. I started it just off. There we go. Here we go. That is, I'm sure you guys all have that, but I usually do use my stiletto, which really helps with the tailings at the end. Sometimes I will not be totally straight, and if I keep that stiletto on till the very end, really helps that. And when I take them apart, I do quality control for the straightness of my stitching, because as you know, it's cut accurately, sew accurately, and press accurately for your project to come out perfectly. Well, with the AccuQuilt, I've taken care of the cutting part. Now I just have to worry about the other two. So this part I do try to take my time with, but I don't find that pins are necessarily my friend when it's this small. All right, one more, and then we've got our 20 done. Okay, so now let's go ahead and take that, lift that up, and then I'm literally going to take a minute and look at every single one. Let's bring it over here. We can inspect these together. And I'm going to look at the straightness of the seam on all of these and make sure I like it, because if I don't, I'm going to take it apart right now and redo it. I've had too many times when I haven't taken that quality control moment, and later in the project it shows up, as I'm sure you can relate. Yep, I really like it. Okay, that's not always that I can say that. So all right, so now we're going to do same song, second verse, and we're going to do our half square triangles. So give me a minute to put these little babies together, and I'll be right back. All right, now we're ready to start work on our half square triangles, and I've gone ahead and put them together once again without any pins. So just trying to make sure that I've got them put there. There we go. Just take care of alignment issues while I see them. There we go. Care of that. There we go. There. this down. Oops, let's get that. There we go. Yep. I get that. There we are. See how it just rides right against that little ledge of the Sew Straight guide, and I kind of have a medium speed going. I said bombing through it earlier, but I didn't really mean from a speed standpoint, just getting it done. Okay, all of our half square triangles are done now, and we're going to do the same quality control that we did before. So I'm just going to go through every single one. What I'm really looking for is not necessarily in the middle, because I feel pretty comfortable about that, but it's the beginnings and the ends where I tend to tail off or start a little bit funny. That one I'm not terribly happy with. Let's do that one over right there. We're just gonna put that off to the side. All right. I mean, I'd hate to go through quality control and not find one, right? All right. All right, I like it. Okay, I'm gonna redo this one, and then I'll meet you back over by the ironing station. Okay, now that we've got all of our piecing done, I've laid this out to show you the two different options for making the Churn Dash block with the two different fabrics. The one that I showed you that I finished previously was done this way, and then this is a brighter, lighter version, which feels a little bit more summery right now to me. So I've actually pieced enough that I'm going to do both versions and let you see at the end the two, and then you can decide which way you like to do it. So we're going to put this together by rows. So I'm going to be putting together these two with this, the center with these two, and then this. And we're going to get that all done, and then we'll put it together. All right, I'll see you back at the sewing machine. Okay, we're back at the sewing machine, and I have gone ahead and I am using pins this time because I've got pieces and parts that have seams, and I want to make sure that these stay as aligned as possible. So now we're going to just piece all those rows that I showed you before. Now we're going to piece them all together. So here, oh, whoops, whoa. It got onto a wrong stitch. Not sure how that happened, but let's fix that right now. So I'm going to go ahead and put it there, and then we need to get this into my scant 1/4 inch position, which is right there. All right, now let's go ahead and get started. I am going to grab my little stiletto here. One thing that I have to be very careful with is making sure, because I am using the Sew Straight guide, that my pins, when I'm using them, are not sticking beyond the edge of the fabric, because that'll cause my my seams not to be accurate. So as I'm pulling them over, I'm checking that out to make sure. And when I'm pinning, you know, start and finish, but if there's a seam in there too, whether it's on the top or the bottom, I do try to get a pin in there, unless of course the seam is pressed in the direction that I want to go. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and pull this in now. Do one more set here, and then I'll take a little. That one's sticking out a little bit. All right. I did pin all 3 of them together, so I've got them kind of overlapped here. Just for efficiency, then I can just whip them around and do it. Pinning's not my favorite thing, but if I'm in that mode of being, you know, very precise, I like to do it all at one time. Okay, so let's go ahead and get rid of that group. And I'm going to cut these apart, and we're going to do the next one. So give me a second. We'll be right back. Okay, here we are back, and now we're doing the second seam. So I'm doing those rows that I showed you before when I kind of laid them out there. So now this is the second seam of the 3 in each row. So we'll just continue on our piecing journey here. Once again, that was sticking out just a little bit. Anything I can do to make this as accurate as possible means that my end project will be that much more aligned. And as I'm sure all of you have experienced, I've learned the hard way that if I see something that's not quite right, stop and make it right. Because once you've got all this put together, it's really difficult to go back and fix something that could have been so easy to fix in the beginning. All right, so now what I'm going to do is pull these out. I'm going to check the accuracy of my seams, cut them apart, and I'll meet you back at the pressing table. Okay, we're back at the sewing machine and we're going to do the seams for each of these blocks. I've pinned both sides. We're just going to do one at a time though. So there's 5 of the Churn Dash blocks and 4 of what I'll call the whole cloth blocks. And so whatever the frame is, which is like the, in this case, I think the frame, let me look, because I've done it both ways. The frame in this case is the pink. So that means then that the whole cloth blocks will be the flowers. So you're just going to do whatever the opposite of what I call the frame. It's probably not called that, but that's what I call it. Right. Okay, so now we're going to snip these apart really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay. And then I'm going to take the pins out of here. Got to get my container. All right. 1, 2, 4. So now that one's ready. Checking my seam allowance, making sure it's straight so I don't have to redo anything. If I do, I'll redo it right now, which we've already talked about. Okay, that one's ready. That one is ready to go. And there we go. 2, 3, 4. Okay, this one's ready. All right, let's go ahead and do this. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and take the pins out. Oh, okay. What's it saying now? What happened? Okay, so now we've put our seams together, and what I'm going to do is take the pins out here, and then I'll meet you back over at the pressing table. Okay, so we're back at the pressing table now. I've done the 2 seams for the block, joining the 3 rows that we've done together. And the final step here will be the pressing of this. But what we're going to do is take out the few extra little stitches that are beyond the stitch lines that we just did. So there's these little ones that, and we're doing this so that we can press this open and make as flat a seam area as we can. Because as you know, when we're quilting this, we don't want to have any bumps or lumps, or minimize that anyway. Okay, so now let's go ahead and open that up. And it'll naturally lay one way or the other. So there it is right there. So I'm going to take my iron and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to press the envelope open right there. Then we're going to go down here and we're going to do the same thing down there. All right. Try not to disturb any of the pressing that you've already done, which I was almost completely successful there till the very end. Okay. Now we're going to turn it around and we're going to do the same thing over here. So we're going to come here. And that's the other reason why I really love to do contrasting thread, because when you have matching thread to your fabric and you're trying to do this part, I don't have the best eyes anyway, and it is really challenging for me anyway. All right, so here we go. Same song, second verse. Press the envelope open there, and then come on down here. Okay, so now let's go ahead and turn this over and do a final press. And we're going to continue that step with the next remaining 4. I've got an excited dog here, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I had to give my dogs a timeout. All right, so we're just going to finish this, doing this again on the remaining 4 blocks here that we have to do. And it's not real tough stuff, but it is really important for the end result. I might as well just do this side while we're here. Okay. Okay. Just 2 or 3 little stitches, that's all it is. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but it makes a big difference. Okay, so here we go. Once again, trying not to disrupt what I've already got pressed. All right. Let's do it again. There we go. Fingering it first helps get it started for you. Sometimes they just open up really easy and sometimes they don't. Oops, there we go. I messed up my pressing right there. Go back and fix it while you're there. All right. Here we go again. All right. This lighter thread is even hard for me to see. Okay. There we go. All right. Let's see here. There we go. Here's a case where that didn't release like it was supposed to. Oh, that's because I didn't get it. That's why. All right, there it is. When you do it right, it will release. There we go. Okay. Let's do this side. There we are. There we go. Flip it over. Give it a good press on the front side. Okay, only 2 more left. I really enjoy piecing. I didn't think I would. I'd always been a garment seamstress, but I think there's a lot of things about piecing that relate to garment sewing. I think it's the precision of what you're doing that determines the outcome of your, or the quality of your product, and tangible. At the end of the day, you have something really to show for your work. Okay, right here, I'm not seeing, what am I not seeing? Let's see here. Let's do that and open that up. There it is. Okay. Okay. There we go. This is one that didn't want to open up. And you know, sometimes it's okay. You know, if they're really fuzzy, you know, kind of like your kids. Sometimes you pick your battles, and it's just not that big a deal in the big picture. So we'll just endeavor to persevere. This does not look right. Can we all see that? This one got sewn the wrong direction. So we're going to throw that one out, and we'll have to fix that. All right. I'm glad I did that though, because it's easy for me anyway. Maybe not for everybody else, but for me, it's easy to kind of get mixed up. And if I'm not paying a lot of attention when I'm pinning, or because I try to put them all, face them all the same way. And if I get distracted, not paying attention, I can easily pin them the wrong way, as is evidenced right there. But that's very fixable. Very fixable. And very noticeable when you pull it over there. Okay, let's see what this one says. There we go. And that's probably why that didn't want to open, because it was against the grain, honestly. Okay, fix that one. All right, now let's go ahead, do that. Do that one. Oh. Okay. Yep. You know what? In the big picture, just one being wrong, not bad. I'll take those odds. Okay, let me go back and fix this one, and then we'll start talking about the construction of the overall quilt top. Oh, but while I'm here, I want to show you the tail of 2 blocks. So I think I told you that I was going to be doing the opposite. So I did do this one, where the pink is the dominant one in the center, and then this one where the light is the going to be the predominant one. So it, you know, at the end of the day, we'll have 2 different projects. You can take a look at it and decide which one you like better. And I think both are pretty. It just depends on, what your mood is. All right, I'll be back after I fix this one. Okay. Okay, so now what I've done is taken all the blocks that we did, and then I've paired them with the four full cloth blocks, 9.5 inches by 9.5 inches, that we are putting together to make each row. So I've got the Churn Dash block in the center, and then on the four corners with this one in the center. I'm sorry, with these filling the blanks. So now I'm going to go ahead and take this to the sewing machine and sew these, and then we're going to be ready to put our quilt top together. All right, I'll see you back at the sewing machine. All right, back at the sewing machine, ready to do our seams, putting these rows together. All right, I am going to go ahead and do each row rather than daisy chain them. Okay. All right, next. Oops, my pen came out real fast. Let's get that back in there. There we go. All right. Okay, now we've got that done. I'm going to take the pins out, and then I'll see you back at the pressing table. All right, so we're back at the pressing table. And so this is one that has the whole cloth in the center. So this is a bottom and then a top, and then this is the center one. So what we're going to do is press these towards the center because there's no seams there to worry about. Once again, be very careful of the press job you already have done. All right, so I like that. Let's turn it over. and you can see how that is. We're going to do another press of the front here. Okay. Now, this is the center one. So we're going to press these to the outside, because once again, no seams over there to worry about. Okay. There's that. And there's that. Let's flip that over. Make sure it gets a good press on the front side. Okay, and then this is the top or the bottom, doesn't matter because they're the same. But we're going to do this one to the inside again. Okay, and okay. All right, so now let's go ahead and we're going to pin these two together. And so we do have the seams at these intersections right here. That's the important part because we want that good crisp intersection at the seams. So let's come down here and get that aligned. Thumb and forefinger pressing. You can tell if there's extra bulk there. That's my little trick of the trade, if you will. All right. I don't think there'll be too much squaring up that's going to be needed here, but we'll take care of that after we've got all this going on here. And because this is a big area, I'm just going to put a couple of more pins here and here. We're almost done with the quilt top, guys. Kind of fun. This is the part I enjoy the most. It's very tangible, you know, seeing the end result there. All right. So there's that. And then this is the center. So now I'm going to go ahead and attach this one here. Same song, second verse. Your seams will be going the opposite directions as long as you did it right. And there we go. And oh, there's one that I didn't get a great press job. I must have messed that up when I turned it over. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. Now, let's see here. Gotta press right here. Here we go. And one more time over here. All right, I'll see you back at the sewing machine for the final seams. Okay, everybody, here we are at the final stretch, the last two seams for this quilt top. So let's go ahead and put that down. And here we go. It's kind of nice because when you have a whole cloth alternating, so one side you don't have to worry about seams on, and the other side you do, so rather than both sides. This block is a busy block, so breaking it up with the other fabric is a nice way to honor the block but not be overwhelmed by it. All right, let's go ahead and there's one, and let's do the other one. Here we go. I think my bobbin thread is going to make it through the whole piecing. Here. Okay. Here we go. Get a pin on that one. Let's get it. There we go. Okay, so there we are. I will meet you back over at the pressing table. All right, we're back at the pressing table for the final press before we actually start. We're going to put a border on this, and then we'll get some batting and backing and start doing the quilting. So what I'm going to be doing here is because there aren't any intersections that have double seams, like we have a blank on one side and seams on the other, I'm going to be pressing this, except for the center. I'm pressing this all to the inside. Okay, so both of these seams are going to get pressed to the inside. Once again, trying to be very careful not to mess up my prior pressings. We're just going to take it down here and go like that. All right, let me turn it around and do it on this side, and then we'll turn it and do it on the front. Okay. All right. I like that. I didn't mess anything up yet. I have still a chance to do it though. All right, there we go. And I do see where I did mess up some of my press somehow one of the other times, so I'm going to fix that right now. Now I'm going to turn it over. Whoops, got caught on my light. And I'm going to just do a final press on the front. Make sure that there's no hidden little, you know, how sometimes your press bends the fabric together, folds it together, I guess is the right terminology. And we just want to make sure all the pressing is very clean and tight. All right, so there it is. There's our quilt top. We're going to put a border on it, and then we'll be ready to put backing and our batting and backing on it. But I love it. Looks good. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, now that we have the quilt top put together here, what I've done is I've cut 2.5-inch strips of the contrasting fabric, and I considered the contrasting fabric to be what I call the center of the Churn Dash block. So it's not the frame, it's the center of the block. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to sew the top and the bottom, cut those off, and then do the sides to create what will be a 2-inch border all the way around once we're done. Okay, so now we're back at the sewing machine, and I'm going to be sewing on those strips like we talked about. And I didn't cut off the selvage edge, I just took it beyond the edge of the of where I'm starting, and we'll cut that off whenever we're done. I'm not pinning this either because it's just a straight edge. I do want to make sure, yep, there I go. I just wanted to make sure I was getting started in the right place here. Okay, let's bring the foot up and down, and here we go. All right. All right, here we go. I did take a look at the sides, and I did do a little bit of trimming where there was, you know, a little bit of overage or underage. I evened it up, so I didn't do that on the camera. There's one. Now we're going to go to the other side and do this side. Let me get my strip here. Alrighty. There we go. Doesn't seem like that much fabric, but you know, the drag can pull the project to the side here, so managing that is part of the fun. looks like I didn't get that one evened up, did I? All right, it's okay. We'll figure that out. Okay, so now I'm just going to go cut off these little tails here, and then we're going to do the other side. So I'll be right back. Okay, back of the sewing machine, and I'm putting on the other two strips. Sorry, I thought I had started the camera and I hadn't, so. All right, here we go. All right, there we go. All right, we're going to just turn it around and do the other side, and then our border will be on. I did press the other border down because I am going over the top of that. So I wanted to make sure I had a good press on that. All right, let's go ahead and put this down. Here we go. Now, let's go ahead. Excuse me. Okay, I'll meet you back at the pressing table. Okay, so now I'm just going to press down the border, get it all flat, and now this is ready for us to go ahead and put the batting and the backing on and start quilting. Kind of fun, kind of the exciting part. Well, I actually enjoyed the piecing part too, so I enjoy the whole thing. All right, let's go ahead and do this side now. Get it all flat. I'll hang it up and I'm going to show you the two side by side. So although it's the same fabric, it is a completely different look, and you can decide what one you like. I can't really decide. I have I don't decorate a lot with pink, but in honor of summer, I think it's a wonderful color to have out, especially outside, like on a table, to go with all the flowers and everything that's happening this time of year. So, okay, let me get it hung up and then I'll be back and give you a side by side. Okay, guys, here it is, the side-by-side presentation of the tale of two opposite placements of the fabric. And like I said, I like both of them. I actually think from an embroidery standpoint that the one that has the pink in the solid block area, the embroidery is going to stand out better on that one. But from a, on the table and everything, making it summery, I like the flowers in the center. So you guys figure out which one you prefer and do it. But I actually like both of them. And you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to use this as a reversible quilt. So I'm going to not have to cut backing for this quilt. I'm going to use the reverse of it as the backing. All right, I'll be back with you as soon as I put the batting on it and we're ready to get going on the quilting. See you soon.
Just realized I was talking, you couldn't understand me. Uh, thank you guys so much for joining us today. We are wrapping up our patchwork class. Mendy just wrapped that up for you right now. She's going to be finishing the embroidery portion of that in 2 weeks, so stay tuned for that, where she goes ahead and uses the Churn Dash embroidery designs to finish this quilt. So she'll be wrapping that up in 2 weeks, but we would love for you to get started on your patchwork table topper. And you can join us for that embroidery quilt class here in 2 weeks. So thank you again. We'll look forward to seeing you for more education starting tomorrow. We're going to have Pam Barner joining us. She's going to be doing a live class using the Strand of Pearls template. So thank you again, and we'll see you soon.